Okay. So today we are going to discuss about the task which is a Capstone Project 3. Okay, Capstone Project 3. So here in this meeting we are going to discuss about the topics regarding the Prep 3 Part 1 task. Okay, Prep 3 Part 1. So in the Capstone Project 3 there are two parts. So as of now we are going to discuss about the Part 1 concepts. Okay. And I request all you to what are the doubts that you have that you may arise during the session. Please enter in the chat box, and I will clarify each and everyone's doubt in the end of the session. Okay, and this session will be recorded and updated in the COEPD Education YouTube channel. Okay, you can refer it in the YouTube channel as well. So while coming to the first question, like here, a customer can make a payment either by card or by wallet or by cash or by net banking. Okay, so this is the concept that you need to consider throughout the project. Okay, so here, payment like how payment functions will works and what are the different payment modes we do have. Okay, so that we need to consider and here through like customer can make a payment, right? Like how the use case diagram will be there for that. Okay, for only the payment functionality. Okay, not all the use cases, only for the payment uh, functionality. So here you can see if you observe. So here like a end user is the customer and backend user is the like a secondary user will be the server. So here the system name for what we are going to design the use case diagram for payment application only, right? So the it is for the payment application and here make payment and then we have different payment modes, right? So we need to select the payment option so that we do have like different payment modes such as cash and delivery, or a net banking, or a UPI wallet, and debit or card. Like this, like phone, like we do have the payment options. So, for what kind of relationship should we give over here? We can give the generalization. Okay, so it ensures to select the option among the multiple options, right? So that's the reason we are using the generalization relationship over here. Okay. And coming to the next question, here, what is boundary classes, controller classes, and entity classes? So, actually, like while implementing the software for the application of the project, so here we will define like what classes comes under, like in which layers. Okay, we will divide the components so that we can easily able to make the you can like developers can able to implement the code for the application, right? So here first one is like we do have the three different classes. Okay, one is the boundary class, second one is a control class, and third one is the entity class. So boundary class is nothing but like whatever the user interface components. Okay, so like from where like user can interact with the system. So those all things comes under this boundary classes. Okay, so for example, payment option is there. Here, like user can select the payment option, right? So how we selecting by visualizing, right? System should represent the payment options, then only user can able to select it. So that user interface comes under this boundary classes. And the second one is controller. It just acts as the interface between the boundary class and entity class. Okay. So here, like where the business project will get implemented, and then entity class, it represents the like all the data related. Okay, like for storage. So the databases, all these things will be represented in the entity layer. Okay, so that's how these are the three classes we do have. I need to add like for this case study, like what is a customer can make a payment other like different payment modes, right? So for that, you need to like what comes under in which layers, like which classes that you need to add in the document. And third question, like how will you place these three classes in the three-tier architecture? You know, three-tier architecture, like first one is a presentation layer, and second one is a business logic or application layer, and the third one is database layer. Okay. How will you place these classes? What classes? These boundary class, controller class, and entity class. How will you place these three classes in the three-tier architecture? We discussed it already. Like what are the like user interactions will be there. So that comes under like a presentation layer. Okay. So which class we do have on this really among these three layers? We do have the boundary class, right? Which handles the like which we will represent the like user interface components, like user interactions. So that will be represented in the presentation layer or user layer. Okay. Boundary is similar to the boundary classes is similar to the this presentation layer. Okay, presentation or user layer. And while coming to the controller class, here we will represent the business logic, right? And that business logic, all the controllers will come under this business logic layer in the three-tier architecture. And the entity classes, you know, like all the database related, data storage related classes will be represented in the data tier. Okay, so that's how we will place the three classes in the three different layers. Okay. And while coming to the fourth question, like explain me the domain model for customer making payment through net banking. Okay, so domain model is nothing but it is also one of the conceptual model only. But here where it like it focuses on the specific domain. Okay, it focuses on the specific particular entity or a particular functionality. Okay, so for that we will design the domain model which represents the like how it is connected with the another domains, and as well as like we will ensure the data validations, each and everything will be represented in the domain model. Okay, like how it will behave for the different options. So here, if you see here, what he has got like explain the domain model for customer making payment through net banking, right? So only for the net banking functionality, okay, that we need to design the domain model. If you observe here, customer bank payment account, these are entities, right? So like these are the tables in the database, like how it is connected with the another table in the database, and how data will get passed, right? So this is how you need to design the one domain model. Okay, domain model for this problem. This question. Okay, customer making payment through the network. For that, you need to prepare the domain model. And the next question is a sequence diagram. You know all of this sequence diagram, which is used to visualize the interactions or communications between the actors and objects. Okay, so this it will ensure the like all the interactions between the objects and how it is interacted with the another object and what are the messages passing between them. Okay, each and everything will be and also we will represent the activation time of the actor or object in the system. Okay, so here if you observe here like we have the entities, not the entities, like objective objects and as well as the actors. Okay, this customer is actor and these are the objects. Okay, so here if you observe like customer is like initiating the payment request, then here if you observe here you can see the rectangle box, right? Yeah, you can use the image visual tool. Yeah, you can use the image visual tool or draw.io, both you can use. Yes. Yeah, of course, yes. We need to design it. Yeah, like in this specific domain, right? We are focusing on this specific domain so that like everyone can able to understand how the internally it will works. Okay. So here I will coming to a sequence diagram. So here if you observe like rectangle box right on the dashed lines. So these are the like activation time. Okay, activation time that it represents the activation time, and these dashed lines are lifelines, and the customer, these are the actors and objects. Okay, so this is the message like from the customer to net banking, like initiating the payment request, and then it again passing the message to the actual bank. Okay, like authenticate the customer details like that. So if everything is okay, then it will replace back to the net banking, and okay, and after the like payment confirmation, then it replies to the customer like successful payment done, like that. Okay, so each and everything will be represented in the sequence diagram. Okay, like what are the interactions there internally, so that each and everything will be represented visually. Okay, that's how sequence diagram will be there. Okay, that you need to design. Now coming conceptual model. Conceptual model, like here we can consider the year diagram for this conceptual model. So that is also one of the example for conceptual model, where we will represent our ideology or our concept, like whatever the essential aspects were there, okay, in the system, that we will add, okay, that we will represent visually to make stakeholders understandable. And here, unlike the domain model, we are not focusing on the specific domain. Like here, we are focusing on the like entire system. Okay, how it is connected, how it is related with other entities. Okay, and what are the relationships with there between the entities. Okay, so here are like we have the like few elements or components of the conceptual model. Like we do have the entities, attributes, and relationships. So entities are nothing but like these are the real world object. Okay, so for example, like if you see here a customer, product, and payments, so these are the like real world objects that exist. And attributes and relationships. These are the attributes are nothing but like it defines the properties or characteristics of the particular entity. Okay, that we call it as attribute. So for example, like payment is there. For any payment we do have the like payment id, payment mode, okay, payment status, each and everything will be there. So those are the attributes which defines the characteristics or properties of the entity, particular entity, or like what entity, payment entity, right? And the relationships, how it is related with the like each and every entity in the database. Okay, so that's how you need to add in document. And the next question is MVC architecture. MVC architecture, the acronym of MVC is a model view controller. Okay, this is the more advanced version. Like it is also uh, one of the software design pattern which is used to segregate the main application into different components which are like model view and controller. Okay, so here it is also similar to the three-tier architecture only, but the three-tier architecture is a traditional like software designing pattern, but here like most of our organizations are using the MVC architecture. So here like if we compare this MVC architecture with the three-tier architecture, like we do have the same layers like model view controller. So like if you consider presentation layer, okay, consider presentation layer. So in the presentation layer, like what we were like all the like user interactions and the user interface components will be represented in the presentation layer. So similarly in view layer also. Uh, it represents the presentation layer of the application. Okay, and we're coming to the model layer. So the major difference between the three-tier architecture and MVC architecture is in the model layer itself. Okay, in the model layer itself, like it represents the data, means a database, as well as the business logic, as well as the like a business logic in the sense like a code. Okay, the backend code or logic will be implemented. Okay, that will be represented in the model layer itself. Whereas controller is just it will be like interface between the model and view. Okay, so let's say consider an example like consider COEPD portal itself. So once you enter your username and password, like how you are entering that you are entering by like user interaction, right? So it is asking for your user input, then you are giving your input, and if you whenever you click on the login option, then so here controller just takes the inputs from the view layer and it gives to the like model layer. So in the model layer like backend logic will be there, right? Like business logic, so that code will verifies, okay, that code will verifies your login credentials with uh, the credentials which are already stored in the database. Okay, so whenever those credentials are valid, then like controller takes the input from the model that and it will updates in the view layer. Okay, that's how we will get, and that's how we will show error message or like directly logging into the dashboard, right? So that's how it will works. Okay. Yeah, that will explain. Okay, I don't need to worry, I will explain each and everything. So in the end of the session I will explain. Okay, so here also like few guidelines are there, like like we have rules to define the like classes in the MVC architecture. So it will be like combination of one actor and one bound, one use case results in one boundary class, and combination of two actors and one use case will result in two boundary classes. Okay, like that we do have the rules. Okay, so that you need to add. Okay, and while coming to the eighth question, which is so BA contributions in the project. So we do have the in the waterfall model we do have different stages, right? So throughout all the stages, like what will be the BA contribution? Okay, so if you observe like here template is given, so stage like before the project initiation, so before the project is initiated or started, so as a BA and like project manager will together conduct the enterprise analysis to make the like to understand the business needs and standards as well, and also will conduct the feasibility study whether we can able to implement and we can able to deliver it within the time or not, and also will conduct the SWOT analysis, right? So each and everything will be done before the project initiation only. So and in the planning what are the activities will be there? So in the planning, like we will estimate the time and budget, and we will estimate like what are the resources required to implement this project, and what is the timeline that it takes to complete. Okay, so each and everything will be estimated in the planning stage, and project initiation. Once the project is initiation, we start with the requirement gathering, and then the requirement gathering, like we will collect the requirements from the client, and we will do work on those documents, and prepare the BRD, SRS, or for the documents like that. Okay, so that's how you need to add like each and every like BA contributions in each and every stage. Okay, and the next question is conflict management. So conflict management is nothing but like it is used to manage the conflicts or disagreements between the like stakeholders in the organization. Okay, in the organization, or like between the client and the, okay, so here like those will be the disagreements. Okay, so to manage those we will use the one technique called the Thomas Killman technique. So this is the technique like which will be used for the conflict resolutions And also here, Thomas Kilman technique is it is like a graph, like where we have like where we will manage like conflicts like based on the five strategies. Okay, five strategies that we do have: avoid, accommodate, compromise, collab, like compete and collaborate. Okay, these are the five strategies that we do have in the Thomas Kilman technique. Okay, so based on the scenario, like if the assertiveness is in the sense the domain knowledge of the domain knowledge on the project or any product of the client on BA, and our cooperativeness. Okay, so in the cooperativeness, like it will be like cooperation between the business and analyst and the other stakeholder. You can consider like that, for example. Okay, so if the assertiveness and cooperativeness will be low, then we will that would be the avoid state. Okay, and if the cooperativeness and assertiveness will be both are high, then it will be like in the collaboration stage. Okay, so that's you need to add that graph, like what is the Thomas Kuhlman technique. Okay, so how we will manage the conflicts? Like we first of all we need to identify what actually the conflict is, and we need to discuss on those details, and then we will find the source problem. Okay, where actually it is happening, and then we'll check like we'll check the resolutions, and then we will apply on it, and then we will negotiate the with the clients, like when we will negotiate on the conflicts to resolve those issues. Okay, and then next one is like the reasons for the project failure. So once the project is initiated, before the project is initiated, so what would be the reasons for the project failure? So for example, uh, like if the business analyst gather the incomplete requirements, then it will lead to the scope creep. So then it will cause the project when that will be also one of the reason for the project failure, and improper risk management. Okay, so and there will be like it leads to the project failure as well. Okay, so and any challenges like any issues while implementing the project, any system has each and everything. Okay, so that's how you need to add the reasons for the project failure, and what would be the challenges we faced by the BA in projects. Okay, so if client comes to us with the change of a lot of changing requirements, okay, with a change request, then that would be a challenge for BA to face it. Okay, so and any documentation issues, okay, any technology constraints, okay, like without unclear scope, okay, and so these are the challenges will be faced by the BN projects, okay, that you need to like more reasons, like more challenges how BA will face. Yes, yes, that's how you need to add, yeah. If you want to give like a more explanation on it, you can. So in the next question, like what is document naming standard? So document naming standard, like where we will use like uh, giving the name for any document in the projects. Okay, so that's how we can easily identify like which version it is. Okay, in which like what kind of document it is. Okay, in which stage this document will be used. Okay, so further this document naming standard will be used like which is used to uniquely identify the any document, the development processes. Okay, so here if you consider like how we should give the uh, name for the document, okay, by applying this document naming standard. So if any project, okay, like a project ID, if you see here project ID, and okay, and then what kind of document it is, a requirement or like a use case diagram document or any document, okay. So that we need to mention the name of it, right? So like project ID and it's what kind of document it is, like a requirement, and what is the version of it. So even if we completed the document on the requirements, even though if we got any change request, then we need to update it, right? So we need to update it accordingly. So for that also we need to maintain the versions of it, okay. And also date, on which date it got modified, or like, okay, on which date it get approved, like that, okay. So if we comment all these things, like we do have the project ID, requirement is the document type, and what is the version of it, and on which date it got approved, okay. So that's all you need to add, okay. And do's and don'ts of business analyst, like those are like always like if we need any clarification, then we definitely consult the SMS for the clarifications on those requirements. And if any urgent requirements are there, okay, like, so then we should work on those essential requirements, and then we should implement it first of all. Later on we will add the another requirements. So these are the like do's, okay, that you can add in more. And the don'ts are like never say no to the client, okay. We shouldn't say no to the client at any situation. First of all, we should work on it. So whether is it possible or not, we have to check that, and then we should answer to the client. and and also we should never imagine in terms of the GUI means like graphical user interfaces, like in screenshot pages, okay. You can consider like that. We should not uh, shouldn't imagine like this much of screenshot pages are coming like that, okay. You shouldn't imagine like that. And okay, and we should never work on the assumptions, okay. What are the requirements that we do have, only on those requirements only we should work on it. And so that's how we need to add the do's and don'ts of the business analyst. And the next question is difference between the packages and subsystems. Okay, you need to add the like what is the difference between packages and as well as the subsystems. So packages, like the example can explain. So consider the payment functionality itself. Okay, payment functionality. So you can consider it is a subsystem. Okay, it is a subsystem. So payment function making payment is a subsystem. So in the payment in the subsystem, like different packages will be there. So here like payment option is the subsystem, right? So in the payment modes, like in the payment we do have the different payment modes. So for the different payment modes, the developers need to implement the different like code, right? Then only it will work accordingly, right? So here for cash and delivery, the code will be different. The for like UPI, the code will be different. Okay, like so it will navigate to the Razor Pay or like any phone pay or anything. Okay, so to navigate to that, like the code will be different, right? So each and every payment mode will be implemented in the form of like different packages. Okay, so in the form of different packages. So if you combine all those packages, if you combine all those payment modes only, then only it will be comes under like subsystem, which is a payment, right? So if we decode that, packages are nothing but it is those are the small units, okay, small units in the code in the module, a single module. And subsystems are like a module, okay. So if you combine all the packages, then it will become the subsystem. And if you combine all the subsystems, then it will comes under like a main application, main system, okay. So for login, like it will consider subsystem, like payment is different subsystem, like delivering order is subsystem. Okay, so inside the subsystem, like to maintain the different. like to implement the different code for the different features. So we'll maintain it as in the form of packages. Okay. So that's how we need to add the difference between the packages and subsystems. And the next question is camel casing and uses. Camel casing, like mostly it will be used with the developers, like while implementing the code. Okay, like in the coding language, in the programming languages, this camel casing will be used. Okay, to like to prevent from the naming conventions. Okay, so here in the programming languages, like upper cases and lower cases will that uh, that platforms will consider it as a different. Okay, so to prevent that naming convention, like in the programming languages, the camel casing will be used, and mostly it will be these camel casing will be used where like the while implementing the code they will give the names for the variables or class names or any like methods. Okay, and identifiers are there. Okay, so for that this camel casing will be used. So what actual camel casing is like, so whenever we start a sentence or any word, okay, so the in the first word, the first letter will start with the lowercase, like all the letters in the first word will starts with the lowercase, and from the subsequent words, the first letter will be capital. Okay, the first letter in the subsequent words that will be the uppercase. Okay. So that's how you need to add like what is camel casing, where it will be used, like what are the advantages of it. Okay. And the next question is development server and what are the accesses does business analyst has. So what is server? Server is a space like where we can store our data. Okay. So actually there were three types of servers. So one is the production server, UAT server, and the development server. So this production server and UAT server will be maintained by the client, and this development server can be used by the stakeholders who are involved in the project, okay, in the organization. Okay, so again we have the two sections in development server. One is a document section and another one is the technology section. So in the documents, again it is partitioned into two components. One is a public and private. So private in the sense like in the documents, like any sensitive information, any budget, and like that kind of documents will be maintained in the private section in the document partition. And in public, like as a business analyst we do have the access to the public only. So where we can able like we do have the read only access. Okay, we do have the read only access that we can't able to modify on it. And in the technology we do have the like code, test, and database. These are the partitions have in the technology section. Okay, so here as a business analyst we do have the only the limited access and the read only access. Okay, so that's how we need to add like what is the development server, and like what are the accesses as a BA we have. Okay, and data mapping is nothing but like it will be like data, how data is exchanging between the like source and the target system. Okay, so how if you enter in data, how it is reflecting to the another system. Okay, so that's how data mapping will be there. And here how data is, like shifting from one place to like another place, means like a one system, source system to target system, and how data is converting according to that system rules, according to the target system rules. Okay, so especially like where it will be used like in the database, like as we discussed. So if you given any input in the source system, so then how it is reflecting in the target system. Okay, the data is getting converted and it is reflecting according to that application rules, that target system rules. Okay, so that's how data mapping will be there. Okay, so that you need to add. And what is API? You know, API, application programming interface. Like so, this application program interface mainly used to implement, to make software applications communicate, like different software applications, not only single, like different software applications will be implemented. So here we do have the like a set of rules or protocols that we implement, okay, while creating this API. And here if you consider, like as we discussed, like already we discussed one example, that is a Razor Pay or Phone Pay or Google Pay, like that, right? So whenever we initiate the payment mode, if we select the card or any UPI, so then it will navigate to the Phone Pay or Google Pay or Paytm, right? So like that will ensure the API only, okay, application programming interface. And even though, like another example, like if you place a order, okay, if you place a order after the link payment, so like Google Maps also integrated with that, right? So then only like a delivery agent will check the will use that option, and then it will navigate to the Google Maps. So that's how like we will receive the placed order, right? So that is also like one of the API only. Okay. So and there will be different formats which will be there in the application to exchange the information between the two software applications. Okay. So that's how you need to add the like what is API. Okay. Like at the example for it as well. Okay. And that's it, team. Here, part one is completed. Okay.